What is up, guys? Jetxc here, and listen, we're gonna do a should you summon for Yumi. Now, collab characters, so obviously it's never coming back. A lot of you are probably summoning for this big booba character on the right here, and listen, I don't blame you. But how many copies should you get, right? Now, let's just read the skills, let's look at the range, and let's talk for a bit. So, attack the enemy 5 times. Each attack deals magic damage based off of 30% of your magic attack. Each attack applies 1 stack of dot on the enemy that deals magic damage based on 10% of your magic attack for 3 turns. So for 3 turns, 1 stack of dot will be applied. And she also does 30% of magic damage, and the stacks can stack up 99 times, right? So that means every single turn, she could keep applying dot after dot after dot, and the dot will keep activating and activating and activating, right? So 5 SP, terrible, right? 4 SP, optimal. It's +1. You guys know what I say about getting a unit +1. It's the most optimal, especially when you're talking about SP cost. So let's talk about our at +1. First off, the skill range, I forgot to mention, the skill range is a straight line. Now, a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people, there's definitely been some concerns about her having a straight line attack. Now, maybe in PvP, this will probably be pretty good, right? I think she's actually going to be a pretty decent PvP unit. However, when it comes to Tower of Salvation, regular mobs and everyday daily activities, maybe story, I mean, I don't, the chances of you hitting multiple targets in a line is definitely going to be rare, but again, it is what it is, right? So, if anything, at most, you may be hitting one person at 30% for 5 times. Now, I'm going to be honest, just based off of that, she's overall, like, okay. And I think all the units are okay, but I'd say Yozakura and Hikage definitely have some uniqueness to them. Yumi, however, she's okay, but she's not necessarily OP versus like some of the higher tiered magic damage units, but she's in line with them, like just under them. So for a lot of you, +1 is going to be the optimal amount, especially when you want to get 4 SP, because if you scroll down, reduce SP consumption by 1, so you'll be at 3 SP when you get the skill potential. And you want to make sure you increase your range here to a full straight line. You get 4 squares. So yeah. That is going to be for a lot of you free-to-play collectors. Now, if you're trying to go all in, +4 is probably the best path. And I'll read it here. So, instead of 30% damage at +1, it's 90% damage, and then it's based off of 15% of your magic attack for the dot stack, right? Now let's take it to the account if you get the skill potential to increase her damage. That's 120%. So 120%, you're hitting at 5 times. That's 600%. That's pretty powerful, right? Like I said, in line with a lot of high tier damage units, for honestly physical and magic, right? The question is, like, are you going to be able to hit enough units in a single file line? Which, again, I don't think is going to happen. But for one unit, I mean, you're doing that 600% magic damage and you got a dot on them, so hopefully you could just survive. Because for 3 turns, they're going to burn for at least 15% of your magic damage, right? So I would say the best stopping point here is +4. +5, again, it's a 5% difference. I don't, like, I know it may be tempting to get a character max +5, but it's like, do I really want to spend the resources to get her +5 for a 5% damage difference? I don't know if that's worth it to you guys, because that can end up being 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 tickets. So, to each their own, but +4, I would say, for her. So overall, if we're looking at her from a very high tier perspective at +4 or +5, she's definitely solid. Again, I think what hurts her is her straight line. Nebris has a straight line as well, and I've used Nebris' default costume, her Labyrinth Keeper costume. You get lucky sometimes. It really depends, right? Like, you can't rely on a 3x3 like we have for, like, let's say Lowen or even like Eclipse, where no matter what, you're definitely hitting at least 2 people. With this, it just all depends. But I really do think she's going to shine in PvP, because in PvP there are some formations where you will get a lot of units in a single file line, and honestly, I really do think, I'm thinking in my head right now, if you can make a team where you just survive and somehow you're able to get off your Yumi attack after 3 turns, everybody on their team is going to die pretty much, especially if you have them at +4 or have her at +4, right? So I think in PvP, she's going to shine the best. Everywhere else, besides like Fiend Hunt, obviously Fiend Hunt, she's going to shine because every unit shines when they're coming out, and then the Fiend Hunt comes out because they're supposed to shine, right? It's always going to be, if it's a water unit, which she is, the Fiend Hunt's going to be a fire unit, so she'll have the advantage. Yeah, Fiend Hunt definitely shine because it's one single fucking unit, so everything else, I'd say it's like a 50-50 depending on the formation. But yeah, guys. Overall, she is a okay unit. Again, her damage is solid. It's just, in my opinion, it's a straight line that may hinder her from being busted. So yeah, that is my final thoughts on it. So +1 for everybody that's free to play, casual, trying to save their tickets. +4 if you want to go crazy. +5 if, hey, you just like to see that +5 and you want the extra 5%. What will I be going? I may go +4, guys. We'll see. But I'll be streaming tomorrow. So, all right. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Oh, by the way, I don't think it's worth to go for the weapon. Just get her SR weapon. I mean, exclusive ability, flat magic attack, cool. Magic percent, magic flat, or crit damage. It's in line with every other weapon, right? So whatever. If anything, just get her SR weapon if you can't really replace it with anything else. But yeah. All right, guys. Good luck on your pulls, and I am out. Later.